everybody, and welcome back to the Bleu, Blanc, Banter Podcast. I'm your host, Harry Rice, or as I'm known on Hardwired, PM Rice. Today, we've got a very, very fun podcast for you wonderful folks who are listening here, either on the Harry Rice YouTube channel or on the Hardwired Network, also here on YouTube. Subscribe to the other if you're not subscribed, or subscribe to both if you're wandering upon this for the very first time. Today, we've got 4 games this week for the Montreal Canadiens. The reason I wasn't up yesterday is because it was the first of a back-to-back. I figured I might as well come up just to talk about all 4 games today. So that's what I'm doing. We've got news about Emil Heineman. Unfortunately, he is out. We'll talk about that in a minute. And Jakub Dobes, we will talk about him because, oh my God, this guy is on his Andrew Hammond run if I have ever seen it. And I mean that in the best possible way. We will, of course, get to that in just a little bit. Firstly, I want to thank you guys for the support on the pods so far. You guys have really shown the love for for this show. Not a ton of views, but I can tell the watch time is a bit high. So not higher. You guys know what I mean. The watch time is a bit up there. So I appreciate you guys who are watching this. Send it to your friends if you like it, and yeah. So keep listening if you are interested in some Canadiens news. And overall, just recaps of the games. If you couldn't watch them, if you weren't there. This week, the Canadiens went 3-1-0. Very, very good week, as we are now just 1 point back of the second and first wild cards in the Eastern Conference. I would say the Atlantic Division. Technically, it's 1-1, but we're going for both, basically. We can be, at least. Yeah, we had a game on Tuesday against Utah. It was a game Thursday against the Dallas Stars. And then it was a back-to-back at home Saturday and Sunday against the Maple Leafs of Toronto and the Rangers of New York. So we're going to talk about those in a second. You know what? Let's just get right into them in a second. Because firstly, and this very unfortunately, on Tuesday it was announced that Emil Heineman, the rookie forward for the Canadiens, who's been having a pretty solid season so far, he is going to miss 3 to 4 weeks with an injury because he was hit by a car. That's right. In Utah, Monday afternoon, he was just walking down the street and he ended up getting hit by a car. He had ended up hurting his wrist. Thankfully, that seems to be it. There was no major injury suffered. It was literally, again, just the wrist that seems to be the case. So he's out 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, that genuinely sucks. I'm glad that it's not worse than it is. It sucks that it happened whatsoever, but the one funny thing is that he got hit by the car and then he's all fine. Well, technically not really fine, but you get what I mean. But I forget if he went back to the hotel. I think he went to the hospital or whatever. But he messages the team group chat and he just says, "You'll never believe what just happened to me." And so, just such a funny way to say to tell your teammates, "Hey, I was in a car accident. I don't think I'll be playing tomorrow. So, yeah." So best of luck in his recovery to Emil Heineman. Hopefully he's back a little sooner. I think that'd be a good sign that he's healthy, is if he's back a little sooner. But I completely get if he wants to let the wrist heal up. Fine, and yeah, if by any chance he's listening to this, which I doubt he is, because why the fuck would he be listening to this of all Habs podcasts? Thank you for listening, and yeah, so we're going to get right into the games. Firstly, again, on Tuesday, like I said, it was the Utah Hockey Club, the first time the Canadiens play in Utah, and needless to say, just based off Heineman already, we don't want to go back. Can we just skip the Utah trip next year and just have both games against them in Montreal? So, yeah. And actually, I did do something a little bit different compared to what I've been doing for the first couple weeks. I have taken notes, and it's not like my usual. If you have seen on the Harris channel, my usual game recaps, I just took notes about the goals because I've been watching the videos and just kind of live analyzing them, and I feel like it's a little bit awkward. So I just put my notes down. I'll give you the goal, who it's from, the time, but I have little notes that I'll tell you guys about. So. Early in the game, and I mean very early, 2:11 in the game, Josh Doan gets his second career, or not second career goal, his second goal of the year. Technically second career goal as a Utah hockey club. That's on a 5-on-3 because Michael Pezzetta decided to hold Jack McBain's stick, and Matheson then decided to trip Clayton Keller. So that's fun. But no, Doan buries it. It's a really good rebound chance right in front of the net. Monty doesn't see it first. Doan does. He puts it home, top cheese. And 2:11, end of the game, Utah takes the lead. However, Mike Matheson says, "Hey, guys, that goal that I was kind of the result of because it was a 5-on-3. Yeah, I'm sorry." And he then decides to score a beautiful near end to end. He technically starts skating in the zone, but he only gets it right after the blue line outside of the Canadian zone. But I'll call it an end to end goal. He goes right up the middle, splits the Utah D. And he gets his third of the year, 3:18 into the game. It's close enough. I'm going to say, oh, hell yeah. Matheson scores from Caulfield and Hudson. That is Laine Hudson's 30th assist of the year. This dude, I tell you, this dude is something special. Laine Hudson, man, he's great. Caulfield's good. Matheson showed some offense this week, so... that's nice. Nick Bukestad, though, to end the first period, would score very late, actually. With 54 seconds left, he'd make it 2-1 on a bit of a weird backhand that takes a really lucky bounce off Monty's back and into the net. So he makes it 2-1 Utah from Michael Kesselring and Matthias Michelli with 54 seconds left, like I said. However, in the second period... Patrik Laine ties it up after a hockey club chance. A beautiful tic-tac-toe tick play off a transition. I say that because he's the tick. He passes it to, I think it was Carrier. Yeah, it was Carrier to Newhook right across to Laine, and he scores his first even strength goal of the year. Shout out Patrik Laine. That is his 10th goal of the year. I feel like I have not been talking about Laine much, even though he has been scoring. But this dude is on a fantastic run, and we'll talk about him a little bit more at the end of the pod. After the games, I should say, because technically not the end of the pod, because if it's the end of the pod, I can't talk about anything because the podcast has ended. But regardless, Laine scores at 10:40 from Newhook and Carrier. Newhook, just his third assist. He's got to start passing that puck, man. He's getting greedy with all his goal scoring he's doing. No, but I think Newhook is actually playing good. But Laine, 10th of the year, absolutely fantastic. And then, late in the second period with about a minute 26 left, exactly a minute 26 left, Doc makes it 3-2. Fantastic dangle, a beautiful visionary pass from Hudson, just gets it right to Doc. Dangles out Valmalka. That jock is in the stands. Doc then just backhands it into an empty cage, and oh man, I think Doc is back. Doc has looked fantastic since the Florida game. I'm really happy that he's been playing great because I want him to. You know, I mentioned earlier in the season that maybe we should be trading him. Maybe we should look at moving on, but honestly, I don't think I would right now. I think it just took a little bit more time than we expected for his ACL and the MCL to completely heal. The skills were there. The puck handling was there. The shooting and passing was there, but his speed took a little bit to catch up. And ever since that Florida game, man, 2 goals against Florida, 1 against Vegas, 1 against Vancouver, 2 against Utah, spoilers, and he'd score 1 more this week. Just in the month of January, in 9 games, he's got 4 goals, 5 points. He's been playing very well, I think, this month. I think he's been quite good. I'm really happy with how Kirby Doc has played, how well he's played recently. It's very funny because it says that Oh, I see now. Okay, I see. No, sorry, I'm looking on ESPN because I'm looking at the game logs, and I'm just realizing that it's giving me their production time. So because he scored 2 goals tonight, he was scoring every 7 minutes. He was getting a point every 7 minutes and 7 seconds. So kind of useless info, I'll be honest. But you know what? I think that's kind of cool, and I'm understanding it. So, yeah, Doc makes it 3-2. However, 3:07 into the third, Logan Cooley ties it up after Caden Cooley, ironically, just loses his man. It's a really good pass right to him. Fools Montembeau. There was a couple screens. I don't even think he saw the pass until it was too late, but that gets home. It's a tied game. Again, I can't blame Monty at all for that one. Really good pass, smart vision just to see Cooley's open, and yeah, he puts it home. Cooley, sorry, not Cooley. Cooley. However, 3 minutes and 14 some odd seconds later, goal Caulfield. My God, this kid, he looks so good. He makes it 4-3 for the Canadiens off of a phenomenal Laine Hudson pass. It looks like it's going to be a shot. It's so perfectly on and off the tape of Caulfield into the net. Sorry, I might have just pricked the mic a little bit. I apologize for that. But just so perfectly on and off the tape of Caulfield in the net. It's the tie. It's the leading goal. Cole Caulfield with his 24th of the year from Laine Hudson and Mike Matheson. Matheson almost had 20 assists. Will he get it this week? We'll find out. He would not get it on the next goal because it was a Jake Evans penalty shot. That could be a goal. Obviously, there's no assists on penalty shots, but unfortunately, he would get stopped on that. However, Kirby Dach took it very personally because he then decides to score. He scores off of a strip, shoots it from the blue line. It's off a Utah stick and just over from Elka's pad. He gets his second of the night. He gets that from Carrier, so there was an assist given to Carrier. His 13th of the year is Carrier's 13th point of the year, and I believe that is Doc's 8th goal of the year. Carrier, by the way, really, really good with the Canadiens. He's been kind of an unsung hero during this last stretch. Ever since we've acquired him, we've been playing really, really good hockey. So shout out Alex Carrier. Apparently he's a legit top 4 defenseman. Good for him. So Doc scores. Utah would pull the goalie, but they wouldn't end up scoring. So your final score, 5-3 for the Canadiens. A plethora of penalties in that game as well. Montreal, that's the one thing that I do have to say. They've been very undisciplined. That is one aspect of their game that I think really needs to be fixed, I think, is the amount of penalties they're taking. Because they're good offensively. They're good defensively. They're good in net. It's just sometimes those penalties end up biting them a little bit. They took 4 penalties in the first period, which is just, my God. And then they took 2 more in the third, which one of them almost ended up screwing them over because that's when the game was tied. It was both Gallagher and Slavs was to potentially tie it, but yeah, so Montreal thankfully would take the game against Utah. And want to know for the week? I believe that we started the season this week with this win 1 point into the playoffs, and we would need to keep winning. Would that happen? Well, I told you that it would, so it did. Dallas, let's get to that game. First period, 3:50 in, so once again, Montreal allowing the first goal. Jason Robertson scores his 12th of the year off of a nice pass, and it's a rebounded shot off of blown coverage by both Matheson and Dvorak. Dvorak was trying to get back to cover in time for Matheson, who was off doing something, but unfortunately, it wouldn't last, so blown coverage. Robertson gets his 12th from Dodonov and Johnston, just 3:50 in. However, mere seconds later, it felt like at 4:37, Jaroslawski ties on. A nice 2-on-2. It's a great backhand feed from Caulfield. Slav just gets open. Ottinger doesn't even try. He knows it's going to be in the back of the net. And yeah, Slav would get it. His 5th of the year from Caulfield and Suzuki. Suzuki at 30 assists now. That's his 31st. Props to him. And yeah, all the way now, all the way. It would take until the third period for there to be some goal scoring. The Stars, the Canadiens taking some early penalties in the first half of the game. Second half of the second period, the Stars take a couple penalties. It looks like the Canadiens might be able to capitalize. And then the third, Niels Lundqvist took a delay of game puck over glass, and then 11 seconds into that power play, Hudson tripped up Esa Lindell. So that kind of sucked. However, no penalties would end up being scored upon. Alex Newhook, though, he ends up giving the Habs the lead off of a really nice tip from a Hudson shot from the blue line. So it's Newhook from Laine Hudson. He is now on a 6-game point streak after the Dallas game. That goes at 9:15. A nice tip, like I said, just off of one face-off. And the Stars would try and press. They try and get the lead. However, they couldn't. Armia ends up scoring an empty netter, his 8th of the year from Nick Suzuki, with 17 seconds left. And I literally just put in my notes, just Armia gets the empty netter. He just gets it from the neutral zone, skates up, holds it, makes sure it goes in, and yeah, it does. So the Habs take the 3-1 lead there. Jakub Dobes playing really well in this game. Another game where he allows one or less goals. Dobes, I thought, played okay. Montembeault, I thought, played good in the first game, but yeah, Dobes played really well against Dallas. Which brings us to Toronto. I made a short, if you guys haven't seen it, over on the Hardwire channel, or here on the Hardwire channel, depending on where you're watching this, talking about the game last night. I didn't like the game last night. I got to be completely honest. And I mentioned it in the video, and to put it in a much calmer and more sophisticated manner, or to put it the way I put it last night in a very sophisticated manner, how do you prolapse all over the ice after that first period? There's a few things that you can say is the reason Montreal lost. A, the bounces were going our way, but we just couldn't finish. B, Joseph Woll was really goddamn good. And 3, Leafs just got really lucky. I think those are the 3 factors you can say that lead to Toronto blowing the doors off this game, really. So, let's talk about it. So, the Habs would actually score early on. 5:08 in, it's Kirby Dach. He gets one. He buries it off of a really slick goalie pass. Genuinely, just a really, really nice one. Dach gets his 9th of the year from Gouli and Patty Laine. So Laine has a point in this game early on. His 3rd assist of the year. His 3rd as a Canadian as well. And late in the first period, I wish it was late in the game. Late in the first period or that one comes at 5:08, by the way. Laine scores one on the power play. His 11th of the year. I literally just put his usual stuff. Left circle, you know it's going to be there. One-timer, boom, in the net with 1:49 left. Laine scores his 11th from Hudson and Suzuki. So Hudson, he's beaten off Suzuki for the I shouldn't put it like that. He's closing off Suzuki. Well, no, they're like one assist apart. They're neck and neck for the assist leaders on the team right now. That's how I'll put it. They're neck and neck. Hudson has 34. Suzuki has 33 after the Laine goal. And before I can even finish that sentence, more than likely, Josh Anderson scores. 18:30. Yeah, 2 goals in 9 seconds. Josh Anderson scores his 8th of the year from Armia and Carrier. He absolutely dances Max Domi out of his jock, which I think is fucking hilarious. He buries it by Joseph Woll. And so the Habs looking pretty good. They come out of the first period holding a 3-0 lead. So what happens? Well, the simplest way I can put it is that the Habs get a little bit complacent. The Canadiens, I can't even say wouldn't shoot as much as they did in the first, because they really did. 13 in the first, 10 in the second, 12 in the third. The Canadiens got shots. The final shots in the game were 35-34 for the Canadiens. just, my God, this game just got so out of hand from them. Like, they were taking really good shots in the first, but I think that's something in the second and third, is they were taking quick shots. They weren't holding on and waiting for a smart shot. They were just getting a shot. They weren't looking for a good shot or something that can get a rebound and definitely go in the net. They got bounces going their way. They played decent. But somehow... So, Bobby McMahon scores 9:32 into the second period. And what makes this really hurt is it is seconds after a blown Dvorak chance. And I say that he got the shot off. It's just wide of the net. It gets right to McMahon. It's a 2-on-1, and he just has a nice wrister to put it home. If Dvorak either puts that in the net or just gets it on net, who knows how this game ends up? You know? Maybe it ends up being just a 6-3 win for Toronto, and that goal just doesn't get scored. But I'm just saying, you got to get the shot on net. Robertson then late in the second period. That goal comes at 9:32. Nick Robertson. Reminder that he was allegedly better than Cole Caulfield. One has 8 goals. The other is Nick Robertson. 8 goals in the last 13 maybe for Cole Caulfield, but no. Robertson gets his 8th of the year. Only his 8th. That's a kind of puny numbers. He scores from OEL and Holmberg with 1:24 left in the second. He just tips an OEL shot home. And, it's 3-2, and the confidence is completely gone from the Montreal Canadiens. At this point, they know it's going to happen, and Nylander ties it 24 seconds into the third period. Off a turnover, he scores from McMahon. Hudson just can't stick lift Nylander. That's really what it comes down to. It's basically a breakaway. Hudson's like right on him, just can't stick lift, and Nylander just puts it home. There was a delayed penalty coming to the Canadiens as well. And OEL gets the eventual game winner, his 3rd of the year from Max Domi, 4:31 in. Several screens in front. Monty has no real chance on the puck. Matthews ends up getting a shorthanded goal off of a 4-on-4. It's literally a second after the 4-on-4 ends, so technically it's a shorthanded goal. It's off a bad Habs turnover. It's kind of a tic-tac-toe right to Matthews, and he scores just his 18th of the year. Reminder that Cole Caulfield has more goals than Matthews, and always will for the rest of the year probably. Steven Lorentz makes it 6-3. He just gets found wide open by OEL. Matthews scores from Marner and Riley, I should say. Lorentz scores from OEL and Marner. That is Marner's 50th assist of the season. Matthews scores with 7:58, and Lorentz is with 14:45 into the third. Lorentz is just there. Nice dangle backhand forehand. He just snaps the top cheese. And then Kempf gets a short-handed empty netter. Habs pulled the goalie with 3 minutes left. They ended up getting a power play. And Kempf scores from Matthew Nyes with about 1:44 left. And Joseph Wall was fantastic. There were a couple chances. There was a Suzuki chance that honestly should have gone in the net. I don't know how the shit that didn't go in the net. If that's not the one I'm thinking of, that one should have gone in the net, though. There was a Suzuki chance, I think it was late in the game. But there was another one, if it wasn't this one I was thinking of. There's a shot that just goes off the handle of his stick. Should have gone in the net, and it's just off his handle. That's the type of luck the Canadiens had tonight. Wide open net, diving Wall, should be in the net, hits the handle of his stick, and it stays out. This game honestly could have been either, if it's still a Toronto win, it's 7-6. It should have been 7-6, 7-5. Canadiens probably could have won this, if you're including all the Toronto goals, 8-7. I'm only doing that just to be nice. Realistically, say we score 1 or 2 more when it's like 3-2. The Habs don't let the Leafs come back, but should have been a little bit more scoring than there ended up being for the Canadiens, and we unfortunately just let this one slip away. Could have had a perfect week. honestly could have had a little bit more lenience in the standings against the other wildcard teams. Would have been tied with the Senators, 1 point back of the Lightning, but unfortunately, we're not. So, yeah. Unfortunately, just let this one get away from us. I was very upset about the game last night, as I'm sure you could tell if you guys watched the short. But now, let's get into tonight's game. The New York Rangers in town. The Rangers have taken the last two meetings. The first game was the drubbing in October, 7-2. The other one was in New York. That was the 1 p.m. start on the 30th of November, where they beat us 4-3 because Kirby Dach decided to be a dickhead. Spoiler, he wouldn't do that this time. Because he's not October Dach, he's December Dach, if you will. Or January Dach, but I prefer December Dach. The alliteration is kind of good. So yeah, the Rangers tonight. This game was very interesting because right off the jump, there is immediate talk because Matt Rempe's in the lineup. Him and Jack-Eye were talking in warm-ups. They talked for a while. It was a matter of when, not if. However, before any Jack-Eye Rempe fights could happen, Lafreniere, very rude. He ends up disrupting that. They weren't going to fight on the same play, but just being funny. Lafreniere gets his 12th of the year from K'Andre Miller. I was going to say Kevin Miller, then I realized he's been retired for a couple years, I'm pretty sure. K'Andre Miller. Lafreniere gets that goal at 11:17. It's a really, really weird bounce off the boards that just gets right to him. I should mention it was Montembeault net against the Leafs. Dobes played tonight against the Rangers. And for them only having 27 shots, Dobes played really well. As did Jonathan Quick of the Rangers. There was just a clear difference. Quick was out of his mind in the third. Dobes was quite good in, I believe it was the second, and overtime. Dobes should have allowed 6 or 7 this game. He played really well, I think. But Lafreniere gets that one. And, Gallagher would tie it. His 11th of the year from Dvorak and Anderson. It's your typical Galley goal. He's right in front of the net. He tips it, and what you're envisioning now, that's probably the Gallagher goal he scored. That's scored 2 minutes and 45 seconds later at 13:52. However, 40-something seconds later at 14:38, Will Cooley scores off of a really bad Jack-Eye turnover. Thankfully, he wouldn't get benched for that. He actually would have a decent rest of the game, I thought Jack-Eye would. But Will Cooley does score that one unassisted. Technically, you can give the assist to Jack-Eye, which, hot take, NHL should really do that. Count own goals as exactly that, as well as accidental assists, such as Jack-Eye's tonight. I think they should count that, but we're probably way too late in the league's history to start doing that now, because let's be honest, Ovi would probably be, instead of 20 away, he'd be probably like 28 away, so... Yeah, actually, I don't know how often own goals really happen. It's only like a couple times a year, I feel like. But anyways, it'd be a 2-1 Rangers lead after the first period. And actually, it was time. Jack-Eye had hit him a couple times in the game in the first. It was time after a whistle. Rempe and Jack-Eye behind the net. They start throwing them. Rempe, before they even realize that they're fighting, before Jack-Eye realizes it, Rempe gets him with a couple cheap shots. Jack-Eye doesn't flinch. They both drop the gloves. They hold on to each other for a bit. Jack-Eye starts getting them loose, laying into Rempe with some rights, some lefts. Gets a couple real good punches right into the ugly mug of Rempe. Ends up taking him down at the end. The crowd is fucking loud as shit. Jack-Eye is getting the fist pumps on the way to the penalty box. The Canadians are pumped up, and it shows because Christian Dvorak gets his 4th of the year from Gallagher and Newhook at 5:07. Just a couple minutes later, Dvorak, really interestingly enough, apparently their TSN broadcasters were mentioning, he has 13 goals in 13 games against the Rangers. He plays really well against the Rangers, apparently. He would have the 2 points tonight. Really nice goal. He has off a really great pass by Brendan Gallagher. He shoots it. It's just off a Rangers stick, and it goes in. Josh Anderson then decides to be a fucking moron and takes a cross-checking penalty right in front of the net, where Mika Zibanejad would score on it. 10:24 into the second period. He gets the goal from Fox and Panarin. Right after, there's a non-call on Matheson. As he had gotten interfered with, he got taken down. Kreider was screening Dobes, and that's how that goal is scored, so that sucks. However, once again, more goal scoring. Nick Suzuki ties it. Rangers had one. Canadiens get one. He ties it off of a really nice stick to break up a pass, unassisted, and boom, just fires it in the slot. He buries it past Quick, and Suzuki gets his 14th of the year. So the captain, very fittingly, has 14 for number 14, with 4:55 left in the game. In the period, sorry, thankfully not the game. And with 4:40 left, Chris Kreider scores his 15th on a tip from a Fox shot. That goes from Fox and Lindgren of the Ryan variety. Unfortunately, not Charlie, as funny as that would be. I did want to mention, Fox had a rocket seconds earlier that just missed the net. Matheson also refused to cover Kreider, so that's how he ends up scoring. So, that sucks. Rangers have the 4-3 lead into the third period, where 12:52 in, Yuri Slafkovsky, he scores on a really beautiful rebound off the shot. He ends up getting knocked into the net a second after the goal is scored. Thankfully, he's okay. There was a lot of rough stuff in this game, too, I should mention. There was one where Suzuki got knocked into Quick. There's then 1 second later where Slav gets knocked into Quick, and the Rangers go after him. Condre Miller decides to mountain him, so he's probably gay. But no, there was a lot of rough stuff in the first, and to start the second, it kind of slowed down. By the third, it had died down. It was really just, hey, all right, enough fucking around. We're playing. Both teams were literally just, we're playing hockey. Let's do it. And the Canadiens bested them in that period, 1-0. Slafkovsky gets his 6th from Caulfield and Hudson. So Laine Hudson, last game in Toronto, by the way, became the first player in, I think it said, or the second player in league history, I forgot who they said the first was, the second rookie defenseman in NHL history to have 2 point streaks of 7 games or more as a defenseman. So Laine Hudson is kind of fucking good. He would also extend that point streak to 8 tonight with the assist on Slafkovsky's goal. Excuse me, my apologies. So yeah, just a beauty of a pass from Caulfield over to Slafkovsky right in front of the net. And, actually no, technically it's a shot and the rebound gets to Slav. So, poggers. And in overtime, we would go. That goal, by the way, 12:52 left in the 12:52 in the second, in the third. My God, I'm all over the place right now. I'm going off 6.5 hours of sleep. I'm gonna blame it on that. I don't get sleep often. In overtime, Dobes would be fantastic. Like, my God, there was 3 or 4 great stops he made. And in overtime, with 2:40 left, my God, Patrik Laine. This dude, after back and forth control, Canadiens get a couple chances. Rangers get a bunch of chances. It's a sudden break. Evans finds Laine up to goalie, right in front of the net to Laine. He gets the feed, and he buries it. His 12th goal of the year from goalie and Evans. Josh Anderson was lucky enough to jump off the ice for Patrik Laine. Because I guarantee you, if that is Josh Anderson, the Rangers have probably won this game. But Patrik Laine buries it, and the Canadiens have a 3-1-0 week, beating the Rangers in overtime. We are currently 1 point out of the wild cards. The second wild card. The Sens are up 2 points on us. And my God, what a crazy last 10 the Canadiens have had. We are 7-2-1 in our last 10. Surprisingly, the Blue Jackets have the same record as us. We are doing better than the New Jersey Devils in our last 10. We're doing better than technically Florida and Tampa. Boston, barely better than the Rangers. The Flyers, technically better by a point than the Red Wings. The Penguins, the Islanders, and the Sabres, as well as the Jets, who are 5-3-2 in their last 10. The Minnesota Wild, the Vegas Golden Knights, the LA Kings, the Avs, the Flames, the Canucks, the Blues, the Hockey Club, the Kraken, the Ducks, the Predators, the Sharks, and the Blackhawks. We are doing better than a majority of the league in our last 10. This team, this Canadiens team, I'm telling you guys, are ready for the playoffs. We are so ready for the playoffs. But it sucks that our next game is against the Lightning. That game is going to be huge, because if we beat them, assuming that Ottawa and Columbus lose their games on Tuesday, we jump Columbus. I think we would jump Ottawa as well. I think. We would be 1 point back of Tampa Bay for third in the Atlantic Division. The Canadiens are ready. They're going to be pushing for a while. I don't know what I'm going to name this pod episode, by the way. I don't know, but yeah, the Canadiens are looking great right now. Jakub Dobes, I should mention, after tonight's game, is 5-0-0 in his NHL career to start. 1.55 goals against average and a .940 save percentage. The fact that that's down actually from an 0.93 goals against average and a .962 save percentage is hilarious. But Jakub Dobes, either way, he is fantastic. Like I said, he is on his Andrew Hammond run. Andrew Hammond in 14-15 played 24 games, went 21-2 with a 1.79 goals against average and a .941 save percentage. If he can have anywhere near that type of record, which is going to be impossible, that would be amazing. That would be incredible for Jakub Dobes to do anything like that. But I believe in Jakub Dobes. Patrik Laine as well, dude. In 18 games with the Habs. He played 18 games with the Jackets last year. Last year, 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points. This year in 18 games, also 3 assists, 12 goals, 15 points. That's what happens when you surround a star player with talent. That's what happens when he's not stuck with playing with Johnny Gaudreau, Zach Werenski, Kirill Marchenko, Boone Jenner, Dmitry Voronkov, Cole Sillinger. These are the leading point scorers in Columbus. When he's playing instead with Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Laine Hudson, Juraj Slafkovsky, Kirby Dach, this guy is so good. He is third on the team in scoring after missing just over half the season. I absolutely love Patrik Laine. And again, shout out Alex Carrier, who in 15 games, 13 games less than he had with the Predators, where he had 1 goal, 6 to 7 points. He has 8 assists, only 2 penalty minutes, and a +5. Alex Carrier looks motivated to play in Montreal. I'm really excited for what we get with him the rest of the year. And yeah, the Canadiens look good. Again, a 3-1-0 record this week. We've got a winning record in the NHL. I'm really, really excited for what this team does. I almost forgot to do next week's schedule for the Canadiens. I almost forgot that. That would have been a disaster, wouldn't it have? This week, or this upcoming week, we have only 3 games, but 2 of them are pretty damn big if you ask me. We play the Lightning on Tuesday. All the games, by the way, are 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time starts, so thankfully it's going to be a good week for that. We play the Lightning on Tuesday, so that's going to be a big win, a big game if we win. 1 point back. We then play the Red Wings on Thursday. So the Red Wings, who I'm pretty sure lost tonight against the Dallas Stars. Yes, they did. They would lose 4-1 tonight, so apologies if anyone wanted to watch that game tomorrow. Spoilers. They're only a couple points back of us still, even with that loss tonight. They are 4 points back of us, so say we lose on Tuesday, they win their game. Thursday is going to be massive, hoping we win on Tuesday and obviously also win on Thursday. And then on Saturday, we play the Devils, who, again, bit of a rough stretch for them right now. Really got to hope they keep that up until at least Saturday. If we can go on a 3-0-0 run this week, go with the 6, get the 6 points, that'd be really good for the Canadiens. I'd be really happy for that. So, yeah, hoping for a 3-0-0 week. I'll expect a 2-1-0 week. I could see us losing to the Lightning. I think that's the most likely game we could lose. But you never know what happens. So, yeah, we'll see what goes on with the Canadiens over the next week. I'll be back here on Saturday after the Devils game to recap that one. Just a reminder to everybody that there are only 3 more episodes left before the basically 3-week break due to the Four Nations tournament that's going on. We'll be back up here on Saturday after the Devils game, then back up here on Sunday, February 2nd after the Ducks game, and then we'll be back up again on the Sunday, the 9th after the home and home, or the double home games, the back-to-back home games for the Super Bowl on the 8th and the 9th. We'll be back up here to talk about those week's games. Then we're off. Actually, we're only off for about just under 2 weeks. We stop on the 9th and we come back on the 22nd. So I'll probably come back on the 1st after the Sabres game. So yeah, we'll be off for about 2 weeks. I thought it was 3 weeks for some reason, but we'll be off for about 2 weeks. So yeah, that's the schedule for the next week. Letting you guys know what we're doing until the Four Nations tournament. That is going to do it for today's podcast for the Bleu Blanc Banter. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah, leave your comments, leave your thoughts on the Canadiens this week, leave your thoughts in general, and I'll read them next time if there is any comments to read. Shout out Rachel Sennett, because she is pretty fucking hot. Jane Wickline, quite good looking as well. No one's going to listen this deep into the pod, so I feel fine saying that. Yeah, boys. Also, my God, I want to say this. Check out the link in the description because your boy, PM Rice, and our boy, Hauser, as you guys know him on Hardwired, we have put out a couple of rap songs on my channel, Harry Rice, my personal channel, I should say. We just put one of them on iTunes. Short Bridge is on iTunes. So if you guys want to support us, if you want to support the boy, check it out. Buy it. It's only $1. That'd be really appreciated. I think it'd be really awesome for people to put in the rotation and listen to it, obviously. It's a song I'm really proud of. We're going to try and get a couple more of our songs on iTunes in the coming weeks, coming months, really. We're going to be working on a lot more raps. If you're also on the Harry Rice channel or on the Hardware channel, go check out the Harry Rice channel. We just put out a new rap song, Too Fat to Rap, a couple days ago. Yeah, so that's quite fun. Thank you guys again all so much for watching the Bleu Blanc Banter Podcast. Hope to see you guys again next week. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is, depending on what channel you're on, PM or Harry Rice, or if you're a rap fan, Da Daddy Rice. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I am out. And always remember, go Habs go, boys. See you guys.